There was a time when the largest rodent ever recorded outweighed a bull. Its skull stretched over half a meter, and its teeth weren't soft like a modern mouse's. They were built for something far more violent. Thick, curved blades of enamel capable of breaking bone. This is the skull of Josephoartigasia mones, the rodent from hell. At first glance, the skull feels familiar. The same basic architecture you see in every rodent. 2 upper incisors, 2 lower, a gap where canines should be, grinding molars at the back. Your brain wants to file it alongside guinea pigs and capybaras. That instinct is dangerous. Andrés Rinderknecht and Ernesto Blanco, working at the Museo Nacional de Historia Natural in Montevideo, described this skull in 2008. What they pulled from Pliocene sediment in Uruguay's San Jose Formation was not a scaled-up rodent. The zygomatic arches, the cheekbones, flared outward like buttresses on a cathedral. Muscle attachment sites were massive. This skull was not built for nibbling, it was built for force. Philip Cox at the University of York ran finite element analysis on the skull in 2015. The results were extreme. The incisors could generate bite forces around 1,400 newtons at the tips, but that number tells only half the story. Cox found the incisors could withstand lateral loads exceeding 4,000 newtons. That is not chewing. That is prying, digging, fighting. The same mechanical profile as an elephant's tusks. If this animal drove those incisors sideways, the force rivaled a large crocodile's bite. You are not looking at rodent teeth. You are looking at biological crowbars. Josephoartigasia belonged to the Dinomyidae, a family that survives today as a single species, the pacarana, a shy, cat-sized creature hiding in Andean cloud forests. The contrast is brutal. South America spent most of the last 65 million years as an island continent. Without large placental carnivores dominating other land masses, rodents filled roles that elsewhere belonged to pigs and hippos. Most people think Josephoartigasia was just a giant guinea pig. That misses the real point. This was a clear case of convergent evolution. Even with rodent DNA, it lived like a large herbivore. The incisors did not grow larger because it needed to gnaw harder. They grew because South America demanded a digging, rooting, territory-defending giant, and the only blueprint evolution had was a rodent. Place the skull of Josephoartigasia beside a capybara's. A capybara weighs around 60 kilograms. Josephoartigasia weighed over 1,000. Scale the skull up, and the geometry changes in ways that matter. The capybara uses its incisors to shear grass. Josephoartigasia's incisors were thicker than your thumb, reinforced with enamel on one side only. The same self-sharpening design every rodent carries, but weaponized. Now compare it to something outside the rodent family entirely, a hippopotamus. Similar mass, similar need for territorial combat. The hippo uses massive canines. Josephoartigasia used incisors. Different tools, same evolutionary answer. Every engineering triumph carries a cost. Josephoartigasia's incisors grew continuously, standard for rodents. But at this scale, continuous growth demanded constant use. If the teeth were not worn down, they would curve back into the skull. The animal was a prisoner of its own design. Those massive jaw muscles required fuel. Cox's models suggest Josephoartigasia consumed enormous quantities of vegetation daily. It was locked into a world of abundant plant life. If the forests shrank and the land changed, an animal this big could not survive. Its size was its strategy. In the end, it became its downfall. Picture Uruguay 3 million years ago. Dense subtropical forest, rivers threading through lowland plains. A Josephoartigasia emerges from heavy vegetation near a riverbank. It moves with the deliberate weight of a buffalo. It lowers its skull and drives those massive incisors into soft earth, prying roots from the ground with lateral sweeps of its head. A younger male approaches the territory. The dominant animal turns, half a meter of curved, self-sharpening enamel catching the light. The challenger retreats, no contact needed. It did not hide to survive. Its size and strength protected it. Nothing wanted to take it on. The pacarana survives, 15 kilograms, nocturnal, endangered. It carries the same dental architecture in miniature, incisors that grow, self-sharpen, and never stop. But the questions surrounding Josephoartigasia remain open. Was it semi-aquatic? The skull suggests it, but postcranial bones are almost non-existent. How did it cope when the Isthmus of Panama closed and North American competitors flooded south? The skull shows us what this animal was, but the rest of its skeleton, still buried somewhere in Uruguay, will tell us how it actually lived. You have just witnessed 4 million years of rodent evolution compressed into minutes. Every week, Million-Year Journey uncovers 2 more chapters written in stone and bone. Subscribe and join the expedition into deep time. They kept gnawing, they kept growing, and they ruled over an entire vast region. And when the world changed, a single skull was enough to prove that they had once existed here.